Councilmember Chipman.
Here.
Councilmember Favela. Here. Councilmember Wells.
Yeah.
Councilmember Davis.
Present.
Councilmember Burkle.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Cole.
Present.
Mayor Onslow.
Here. Thank you very much. Mr. Stewart, are there any late changes to the agenda?
No late changes, Mayor.
No late changes. We have a time set aside right now for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak to the council, there will be no back and forth, but anybody wishing to speak to the council can come to the microphone and 3 minutes and make a statement. Mr. Michael?
My name is Michael Jennings. Ron Onslow, it has been excellent having you as mayor. I've learned a lot about the qualities of an especially capable leader. I really, really appreciate that. And Kirk Johnson, who's in charge of the finances for the city, has won an award 10 years in a row, 10 years in a row. And if you'd like to read that in the Columbia newspaper, I have some pieces of paper I can give you that give the links to the article. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak to the council? Miss Julie, is there anybody online? Go ahead, come up. Miss Julie, did you say yes or no? No?
Hi, John Orr, Fire Chief, Clark House Fire Rescue. Just want to acknowledge Mayor Onslow today. In appreciation, Clark House Fire Rescue hereby recognizes Mayor Ron Onslow for your many years of dedicated public service to the Ridgefield community and your support of Clark House Fire Rescue. Not just here at the city, but during your time at EMS2, when you were the representative of small cities helping us to promote better ambulance service throughout the county. I have a certificate as well as one of our challenge coins, if I could approach.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Oh my gosh, the former mayor of Battleground.
Good afternoon, Council. Philip Johnson. I do live in Battleground, and I just came to recognize Ron on his last meeting, and as Lewis and Clark's guide. I have, in my off time here, since I haven't been doing much the last year, I've been into history, and I noticed that when they were in Cape Disappointment, I think it was about the meeting with you. But Ron, we appreciate all you've done. We met 13 years ago. It was a wonderful time, and it's sad to see you go, but I'm sure someday you'll call me and we'll have lunch.
Yeah, we will.
It's a pleasure.
As
You
long
take
as
care.
it's not
Hummus. Yeah, I know. You
Hummus,
don't eat
yeah.
vegetarian.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak to the council? Oh, there is. Oh, my gosh. Bringing in the heavy lifters.
Those of us that know you.
Yeah.
No. Shane Bowman, live in the city of Battleground. Had the opportunity to work with Mayor Onslow for the last 14 years, I think we've been at this. Appreciate the work that you've done on Discover Clean Water. We've served on that the whole time. We're excited for you to move on to this next chapter of your life and to get out of the way so we can annex Ridgefield now. So we tried that 12 years ago and Ron held us up, so we're coming. So, but no, we appreciate you. I know the city here does, and a lot of things have changed since you've been on council, and power, lights, those type of things have come around, the gas engine. You know, I was thinking about it tonight. I figured out that's why you like sailing so much, is because, you know, you probably came over with Columbus and never had a boat motor, and so you enjoyed that. But no, it's been
That's right.
it's been a pleasure working with you, and I hope you guys have a great time in retirement. I hope the council is blessed and well and in picking the person that's going to try and fill these shoes.
Thank you very much. I think I could have called a Battleground council meeting here tonight. Here's the mayor of Battleground.
Keep your expectations low. Just here to honor Mayor Onslow. It's been a great partnership. You've been a great mentor as well. And it's 18 years.
18, yep.
I'm struggling with 4. Don't know how you do it, but we do have a vacancy. So if I can give you an application, you know, if you want to get a promotion and be a counselor at City of Battleground. But I did want to recognize you, and I have a little certificate here. In appreciation of many years of partnership and civic service, the City of Battleground proudly recognizes honorary Mayor of Battleground, Ron Onslow. So on this occasion of his retirement, with congratulations and gratitude for his service, strengthening the bond between our communities. So in typical government fashion, I believe you got about 3 hours to use this power however you wish.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak to the council? Oh, my God.
Hi.
This one is my baby.
Must be pretty important if I'm speaking in a microphone because we all know how much I love public speaking, right? A gift that you have that I wish I did. So I prepared a little something. I'm afraid I might go off topic. I don't wonder where I got that from, right?
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous.
This
so
is Emily Enquist. She is my 5th daughter. And she just retired off of the Ridgefield School Board after 8 years.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
I thought of a million ways to just keep it short and sweet because how I feel about someone very special doesn't necessarily have to be said in public to mean so much. I'm here to say an enormous thank you to my dad, Ron Onslow. When I fell in love with Ridgefield about 20 years ago, isn't that crazy? I never expected to live 4 houses away from my dad. It's turned out amazing. That my dad would be a council person and mayor, like that was unexpected and amazing, and I'm so proud. Or that I would serve as a school board member and have the privilege to do so. And that's one thing I think we have in common is the drive we have when we love something so much. And what a whirlwind this has been. You've shown me, an introvert, how to truly engage within a community that I already fell in love with, volunteer for it, celebrate it, and make it positive. You've shown my children what volunteering means to make a positive impact, and all of it with no personal agenda, just general love and respect for the community we are all a part of. You've always believed in me, even when I didn't. You've always believed and believe in my children and now my grandbaby. You have this incredible ability to see the good in life and in people and believe in them, even when I thought, oh, I don't know if you should, but what a gift. I think about the countless ways you've impacted my family, this community, and even strangers. It's hard to know where to start or where to end. The list is so grand, and I feel like they are all the biggest thing, from being at the school dishing up green eggs and ham. Do you know how cool it is to have your grandpa dishing up green eggs and ham? And to quietly fixing up a park. I think you might have won an award for that. To grapes, more parks, trails, school levies, and bonds. You've been there making a difference. You've helped shape one of the fastest growing cities with the best intentions. And even driving here, I want you to know I see you everywhere. I see you at school, I see you in the roundabout, I see you at the park. I see you in everything that is a community I love and live in. And through it all, I can't leave out Sandy by your side, leading with the same virtue as well. Thank you for bringing her into my life, someone I can call a lifelong friend. So to actually keep it short, there's a memory that pops in my head from time to time that I don't think I've shared with you. One beautiful day at a cleanup, of course, a woman came up to me with the biggest smile as we chatted about the cleanup, grateful for good weather, and she started saying such great things about you and our family, and ended the conversation with, "Thanks for sharing your dad." And it hasn't always been easy, but what a gift to be so proud to share my dad and know that this isn't an end, it's just on to the next chapter. And trust me, having a few less meetings is kind of nice. So I love you, I appreciate you, and thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir?
I'll make this real quick. I've known Ron since I used to have lunch at his dad and his uncle's restaurant on Main Street. Years ago.
He's older than I am.
He was just a kid. But I want to say something about the sewer district because that was very important. Ron made the decision that he had so much to do with water and parks and streets and parks and fire and police and everything that he spent 80% of his time on sewers, and he would like to have Clark Regional Wastewater District step in and take it over. And we, thanks to John Peterson, our general manager, we did, and it's been a wonderful partnership all those years. So anyway, thank you very much, Ron.
Thank you, Neil. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak at the microphone? Seeing none, is there anybody online? Thank you very much. And- Oh,
We have one more.
Oh, well, I didn't know that this was such a fanfare, because I'm here like on normal business, so
You go
I didn't know
right
it was a
ahead.
party until I saw all the parking lot full, and I was like, oh, okay. So I'm here, my name is Jamie Kaiser, I'm a Ridgefield resident. I'm here again because I believe our city lacks diversity and voice and vision for its future, and I think that's kind of obvious by looking at what's going on to our town. I believe the council needs to allow all residents to serve on committees, councils, and boards, not just city residents, but rural people like myself as well. Those of us in the rural areas feel left out, and we are just as impacted as people who live in the city. So I'm hoping the council will consider changing its policies to allow all of us to have a voice, to have, make it even, make it equitable, so that we all have a voice, and not just people in the city, or in the city. Thank you.
thank you very much. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak to the council? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. I would accept a motion to approve the claims, payroll, and the minutes, and the interlocal agreement with the city of La Center, and acceptance of an RCO grant for the G Creek Culvert.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there any questions, comments? Thank you very much. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Thank you. We'll go on to the pink patch presentation. Ms. Chief Doriot, are you going to handle this? All right, you're going to be online here. Thanks, Battleground, for coming.
Always a pleasure, Ron.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can tell you that after 35 years in law enforcement, having all these people behind me is extremely unsettling. So just putting that out there.
There's a few of them that are armed, too.
Even though I know they're all friends. So just telling you, it's a little bit stressful. So it is my honor tonight to recognize once again our efforts with the Pink Patch Project. This is, I believe, our 7th year. I should know that, but it just seems like it hasn't been that long, but then some days it seems like it's been. So this year we had a pretty good sale of our patches, which you all probably saw the patches that we sold for this year. It was a really successful effort. I want to thank the local businesses, particularly Taps Beer Reserve with Kevin Summers. He has been exceptional. His support of law enforcement in general, other charities and organizations in our community. I just can't say enough about Kevin and what he does for the Ridgefield community because he is amazing. Lava Java, they step up every year. Brewed Awakenings, Beverage, Ridgefield Floral, the Seasons Coffee Shop, and the Ridgefield Hardware. All of them joined us this year to make sure that we could get the patches out to the public because it takes that to get them sold. So for those of you who are new here, because there's so many people, we redesign the patch every year. So it's a different shape and it's a different look. And we hope that that makes it a little bit more collectible. This year we were fortunate enough to raise $2,444.54. So it is my honor tonight, from the inception of our Pink Patch Project, we have always donated our profits to the Pink Lemonade program. I can't think of a more deserving organization that's out there doing the work to help educate, empower, and support all of the communities that are affected by breast cancer. I know that it has touched my life personally with my family, and I can imagine that almost everybody in this room either is related to somebody or knows somebody who's been fighting that battle. So I see a lot of pink shirts here tonight, so I'm assuming they're all supporting Pink Lemonade or Pink Patch, I hope. Or maybe it was a coincidence. I don't know. We obviously didn't coordinate this, but anyway, so it's my honor to call up Linda Aronson. She is the major events coordinator for the Pink Lemonade Project, and I would like to award her with this check and give her an opportunity to speak.
And she brought the former mayor, Don Stos, along for protection.
Yes, I did. Dawn, come on up. Thank you very much. I'm with Pink Lemonade. We are a breast cancer nonprofit that's located in Vancouver, and we cover all programs in all of Oregon and Southwest Washington. So we have grown quite a bit. It's our 15th anniversary this year. Which is great. We've increased our programs to include many. We have a wraparound vision of from start to finish of a breast cancer diagnosis. We can help the family, we can help the patient. So we have grown quite a bit in the last year. Don has some statistics that he'll share with you here too.
I just want to give you a thumbnail sketch. You know, Chief Doriot and her entire team has done an absolutely unbelievable job assisting Pink Lemonade Project. 2024 was an absolutely unbelievable year for us. We were able to serve over 4,300 people that were diagnosed with breast cancer in Southwest Washington and parts of Oregon. Wow. And in that, we spent over $1 million. And it's the support from organizations like the Ridgefield Police Department and others that help us do that. We have 11 programs in place to help those that are navigating through the breast cancer journey. Everything from early screening, which, as you know, early screening is the best solution to saving lives, and all the way through the metastatic breast cancer program for those folks that have been diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, whose obviously diagnosis is pretty grim, but we have programs for all of those. We've been able to reach out to folks from the Latina programs, to indigenous peoples programs. We support 3 tribes throughout Southwest Washington and Oregon. And so the need becomes greater every single year. And so, Chief Doriot, I just can't thank you enough. By the way, for all of you that are here, Chief Doriot piloted this program. It was because of her that the Pink Patch program has taken off all the way through Southwest Washington and others. And so, Chief,
thank you.
Unbelievable. Thank you.
Okay, slide in. Come on. Come on. Can you get in there?
All right, there we go.
Unfortunately, you're stuck with me, Mr. Mayor.
I know it. That's good.
I'm going to be up here for a while.
Introduction and swearing-in ceremony for Officer Hunt, and that is led by Chief Doriot.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, members of the community. Once again, it's my honor to introduce you to one of our new officers. He's not exactly new because he is a lateral officer. He has been with our department since August of 2024. So since that time, he has been able to complete a full FTO process, and he graduated from that, and now he is out on patrol on his own. Prior to coming to Ridgefield, Officer Hunt worked for the Kalama Police Department, which is where we stole him away from. He was born and raised in Southwest Washington, and a notable fact that he's pretty proud of is that he is the first member of his family to receive a diploma. He worked in the construction industry, and he participated in CrossFit at Ridgefield, which there's the connection. Because when he went to CrossFit, there were members of the Ridgefield Police Department there, and they started to talk to him about how good it would be if he would apply with the Ridgefield Police Department. But as an additional bonus, he also happened to meet his future wife there. So he and his wife met at CrossFit. Her name is Malia. I believe she's here tonight. Their first date was at the Oktoberfest in Ridgefield. They were married in Ridgefield, and Malia currently teaches at the Ridgefield High School. So just kind of a concluding fun fact, they have 3 German Shepherds, and they're in the process of purchasing a home. So it's my honor to call the city clerk up. Miss Julie, if you would swear Officer Hunt in and give him his oath of office.
Before you sit down, see that guy right there who's walking? Would you give him this when he after? He's right.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution and laws of the state of Washington. And will to the best of my judgment. Skill and ability. Faithfully and impartially. Perform the duties. Of the police officer. For the city of Ridgefield. As such duties. Are prescribed by law.
Officer Hunt's badge is going to be pinned on by his wife, Malia Cooper. Oh, not so fast. Not so fast, Officer Hunt. We got pictures, but you get to say a word or two.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Where'd he go?
Tried to sneak away there for a second. I've had a lot of big moments happen in Ridgefield, and it took a lot of talking from Officer Seam and my sergeant, who I went to high school with, Sergeant Marvitz. Took a lot of talking, and now I'm here. It finally happened, and it worked out. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited for the future here and to serve the citizens of this community. So, thank you.
Thank you. Huh? Yeah.
I was in the middle of another conversation.
Okay. You're gonna do a photo, okay. That's all right. Squeeze in. Squeeze in, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, now he's over there.
Officer
Okay,
Hunt is working tonight, so he's doing double duty right now.
We have another appointment, and that is by Ms. Chief Doriot for Detective King. This is a first, isn't it?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is a pretty exciting appointment. Normally, I don't think traditionally we would do an appointment of a detective in front of City Council, but this is a pretty special moment, and it's one that has taken a lot of work to get to. First of all, I want to thank the council. You know, we come to you with requests and wants and needs, and you guys are so gracious about really trying to do everything you can to try to help us out and to fill those positions. And when Chief Brooks came to you back in 2022 to ask for this position, we were hoping that we could get it filled then, and it just didn't happen. But, you know, we're here today, and we're excited about it. And the position is going to bring a lot of value to our agency in the sense that we are a growing community, as you can see. And with that comes more complex cases, more complex investigations, which takes time and it takes officers off the road. And I know that our biggest things that our communities want is they want to see traffic out there, traffic enforcement. They want to see neighborhoods, patrols. And in order for us to get our officers there, this position is going to be integral in freeing our officers up from these really complex cases. And it's going to enable them to be out, and it's going to give our new detective an opportunity to work his magic. And magic he does have. So I will tell you that when we tossed around the idea of a detective, we hired Officer King, I think it was about 7 years ago, roughly. And I'm going to call him a kid because to me, that kid, I tell you, he hit the street running. I mean, he was so excited to be a police officer, first of all, but he was detecting on day 2, I think. I don't know. There was just something natural in him that he just had this draw to being a detective. And he got involved in a pretty big case where we were having a ton of auto prowls out in the business area, and they were ripping that poor business off blind. And Officer King at the time, who I think started out in training during that investigation, made that his mission. And by golly, he figured out who the suspects were, and he made some arrests. He put an intense amount of time and effort into that investigation. And we could see then that that was the future, because we knew he was going to put everything he could into becoming Ridgefield's first detective. And he has absolutely done that. I know I was a little concerned we wouldn't get anybody to come here tonight because, he's not super popular, but, we try to make that up with him. But as you can see from this room tonight, Officer King is very well respected in this community, and he's loved. I mean, it's so funny that one of our members actually came up with a game that we did at our Christmas party where he gave out these cards because so many people come to our officers and say, "Do you know Tyler King?" So now our officers get to have them punch this card, and when they get it full, then they win something. So, yeah. So, one thing I will tell you is about detectives is that it's very important that they have a drive and a desire, an attention to detail, that they have tenacity, but yet patience, because they're interviewing victims of crime, people on their worst days. That they are able to, most importantly, build relationships. And Tyler is the king of relationships. So he is going to do a magnificent job as a detective because everybody talks to him. Everybody tells him what's going on. He knows a guy. I'm telling you, you can come up with any question and he's going to know a guy that knows how to do that. So Officer King, he showed an interest early on, like I said. His skills with search warrants and investigation techniques, even though he's young in his career, there are a lot of officers that have been in this career 20 years and can't do some of the things that he does. His relationships with FBI agents have come in handy. I mean, I was in a case, we were managing a case and we didn't know how to turn and we weren't getting the response we wanted. And he goes, "Hey, I got a guy, I'll call him." He called up the FBI, and I'll be doggone if we didn't have information that we wouldn't have gotten any other way. So he is that guy. Plus, he's got a heart of gold. So how, it's the best of all worlds for us. I drove Tyler King up to the academy on his first day and dropped him off. So he's got a near and dear place in my heart. So I would like to bring Detective King up to the front of the room. We don't do an oath, but he will be handed his badge. He is going to be officially now 6 King 2, the first detective in the history of the Ridgefield Police Department.
Okay, no pressure. Literally. It's fine.
Where's your shirt?
It's underneath. It's okay. The crazy thing is, well, I guess maybe it's not crazy, but a ton of the opportunities that I got, the investment that I got, it's all sitting like right here. A ton of it. Like all the search warrants that I ever learned how to write and do it the correct way and not look like a ding dong. So all right here. Yeah, there's just a ton of investment over, the last 7.5 years to help me to be the person that I am, and I'm still learning, still growing, still want to learn, still want to grow. Nothing that I did, literally nothing that I did.
Everything was from all these people. So one thing that my dad taught me growing up was just relationships are super important. He did that the entire time that he was at Vancouver, and yeah, it's just something that he always really pushed. So I just tried to make sure that that was one of the number one things that was important when contacting anybody ever here, to the point where I think pretty much half of Ridgefield has my cell phone number, which is fine. And that's why I got a guy, because I just be like, yeah, just call the guy. You know, he probably knows what's going on. So, but I look forward to this, to developing this into a position that people want to do, and that hopefully we can come alongside and guide other people to want to be and be really successful in this spot someday. So I'm excited for what this looks like, and I appreciate this opportunity. So thank you.
Hold this like a Power Ranger badge or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Please do.
Hey,
Oh, we're gonna do a picture now?
all right. Come in. All right. We now have a presentation and swearing-in ceremony for Sergeant Jensen, led by Chief Doriot.
These are a lot of words to string together in one night, so just bear with me here. So yes, next is our sergeant's promotion. Once again, council had authorized us with another position to have a fourth sergeant. Our goal is to have improved supervision out on patrol with our officers. So we've been carrying a three-legged stool for quite a while, right? We've had 3 sergeants. And we did an external testing for our third sergeant, which was Sergeant Durham, who's been awesome. And now we are finishing that stool by getting our fourth leg in here, which is going to be this sergeant's promotion. We had an exam in the fall. We had 4 of our officers actually apply for the position, which was very encouraging because the last time, like I said, we had to go externally. After that initial testing, which was conducted by public safety testing, we then held a chief's lieutenant's interview. Out of that interview, then, we selected Officer Dave Jensen to be our next sergeant. A little bit about Officer Jensen. While he hasn't been with the Ridgefield Police Department for a long time, he's been with us for a little over a year, although I'm sure to him it feels like dog years. So, just because he's putting up with me. But anyway, he's made a pretty significant impact in a short time here. I will tell you that he is well respected among his peers here at the Ridgefield Police Department. They look up to him, they respect him. He did 16 plus years for the Vancouver Police Department, many of which were in detectives units, probably secret code names that I don't even know for whatever unit he was in. He was in the National Guard prior to that, so he has innate leadership skills and qualities. And those were pretty apparent to us once he came on board. I think one of the things I appreciate about him most is he's just got a really calm, even demeanor. He doesn't get too crazy about things, but he also is pretty steady Eddie. He's got a great work ethic. He is out patrolling. He's out meeting the community. He understands, and it is an art, and I will tell you now that I've been in every position, he understands that delicate balance of taking care of your people, but yet taking care of the organization and the community. They're not mutually exclusive. They actually build upon one another, and he gets that. And not everybody can get that. I'm just really proud that we are promoting him today. I'm looking forward to him integrating with our other 3 sergeants. I think we have a power team now. I think they're going to do exceptional things in this next year, and we have some work ahead of us. So it is going to take all of us and the officers to get the work done that we have in front of us. So it is my honor to present to you the next sergeant of the Ridgefield Police Department, Officer Dave Jensen, who is now going... Oh, now I see. Not the pink patch. So Officer Jensen's going to be sworn in by Miss Julie.
Oh, my God.
That's his, okay.
This one did.
I state your name.
Do solemnly swear
That I'm a citizen of the United States
that I am a citizen of the United States
and of the state of Washington.
and of the state of Washington,
That I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
The leader of the pink pack is his wife, Audra, who apparently is going to be the one to pin him, I think.
Get to speak.
I forgot to let you know that Dave has a fear of photographs, so this is challenging him right now.
Mr. Mayor and council, despicable friends. I thank the city for the opportunity and give me for the confidence that they have and give me a chance to do this. Grateful to my wife for her putting up with me and all the things that I have to do. She told me the other day when she saw me charging a solar-powered pistol sight in the window that she just quit wondering years ago about the weird stuff I did around the house. I just want to apologize in advance for all the things that are going to happen after this. So, thank you very much.
Well, you get to come up and have your picture taken and hand out those free cards, how to get out of jail. And all those in the pink, would you please come up and... Come on up. Get together. Get together. Get together. Don.
There we go.
Okay, and now our first order of business is approval of body worn, and vehicle camera.
Oh, my goodness.
No. This is the only order of business, and if we're gonna take pictures of them, you can escape. Heck no, that's the last. It's only one order of business. Make them stay for the whole meeting.
Yeah. And it thanks them.
Bye, Hannah in Brooklyn.
Whoop. Okay, Chief, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, and members of the community. Tonight, I am presenting two policies for your consideration. One is RPD Policy 607, body-worn cameras, and the second is Ridgefield PD Policy 608, in-vehicle cameras. These policies were developed following an extensive review of existing body-worn and in-vehicle camera policies from other law enforcement agencies within our county. Those agencies included the Clark County Sheriff's Department, Vancouver, Camas, Battleground, and Washougal Police Departments. In addition to drawing from the best practices of our neighboring agencies, these policies have undergone a thorough review process. They have been vetted by the city manager, Ridgefield City Attorney, and the Ridgefield Police Officers Association to ensure they meet both operational needs and legal standards. The Ridgefield Police Officers Association was integral in helping me develop these policies, and they are very supportive of the body-worn camera program. In addition, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, which is the federal agency providing partial grant funding for our body-worn camera program, reviewed our policies as part of their grant process. They commended our work, noting that these policies are among the most comprehensive and thorough that they have reviewed. During the development of the policies, our goal was to have them reflect our commitment to transparency, accountability, and effective policing. Having said this, we will not be doing anything with the body-worn or in-vehicle cameras unless you, the City Council, give us the authorization and that you approve these policies that are before you tonight. Ms. Julie? So the question is, why now? It was about in 2021 where public sentiment was kind of really demanding that, hey, it was actually earlier than that, probably more around 2014 to 16, but they were demanding more accountability from police. Currently now, we are in a position where we can integrate body-worn cameras and in-vehicle cameras, but once again, like I said, we're not going to take any action until we have your authorization. Washington State now has a law that requires, in order for a police department to adopt a body-worn camera program, we have to have policies in place before implementation. In addition to the public kind of outcry, there was also legislative changes that took place in 2021. There is now the requirement that all juvenile interviews be recorded and that all adult felony interviews be recorded. That was a logistical challenge for many police departments because it wasn't as prevalent with the cell phones to be able to record, so we all had these little digital recorders, and it was not a convenient process. In addition, all custodial interviews, any interviews that happen at the police department need to be recorded. That again put in some infrastructure issues about having the capabilities and technology to do that. Additionally, in February of 2021, the Clark County Chief's Prosecuting Attorney and the Clark County Prosecuting Attorney's Action and Reform Committee sent out a letter to all law enforcement agencies in Clark County urging them to adopt body-worn cameras to document their police and public interactions. They demanded greater transparency and improved accountability. So that's the why now. That's why we're here today. Julie? So our program goals. The goal is to effectively document in-person law enforcement related contacts with their community while simultaneously promoting public trust. We're hoping that the cameras will show what we already know to be the case, which is that the Ridgefield Police Department does good work. We are a good agency with good officers. Our hearts are in the right place. We're out there doing our job. It improves transparency so that if someone has a question, if they didn't like the way that an encounter went with an officer, they can come in, they can make a complaint, or they can ask to have a conversation about, hey, this is what happened and this is my perspective. The cameras are going to give us an opportunity to see how that interaction went. Enhancing accountability of all parties. Once again, I'm told by those agencies that have cameras that it kind of keeps everybody honest. I mean, we would hope that obviously our police officers are going to be honest, but it also keeps the citizens that interact with officers honest about how that contact went. Reducing citizen complaint and risk management claims. In my conversations with Sheriff Horch and with the chief of the Camas Police Department, they have already, in their short time of having those cameras and the in-vehicle cameras, found the footage from those incidents to be invaluable. I know that the county has had several officer-involved shootings, and they've had video camera footage that they have used to mitigate those situations as quickly as they can. And enhancing evidence collection and scene management. If you have the body-worn camera, you're doing a search of a vehicle, it's going to record all that. If you're interviewing somebody, you say they say one thing, they say they said something else, it's going to help with that. Plus, going to court, the footage is going to help for prosecution in the courts. And then also, we can use the footage from the cameras, both the vehicle and the body-worn, to help train our officers to get better training. We can't just randomly pull video footage, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. But what we can do is if a sergeant knows that there was a particular situation where maybe there was some training that could have occurred, we can pull those videos and look at those. Ms. Julie? One of the things that I talked about was that there is an RCW that requires that we have a policy in place. That RCW asks for a few specific things that must be present. One of those is activation and deactivation. So when are the cameras going to be activated? That question comes up a lot, and the answer is whenever there's any police action going on. Calls for service, traffic stops, arrests, searches, interviews, evidence processing, suspicious circumstance, all of those things would require the cameras to be activated. There also are automatic triggers that will automatically activate both the body-worn camera and the in-car camera. Two of those are if an officer pulls their taser, the cameras will automatically be activated. If they pull their firearm, the cameras will automatically be activated. If they're in their patrol car and they activate their lights and siren, the cameras will be activated. So there are those natural triggers. When do they not have to record? If I'm walking down the street in uniform and I have a body-worn camera on and you flag me over because you haven't seen me in a while, we're going to have a chat, those don't have to be recorded. National night out events, events like tonight, those things would not be recorded. There are some other situations when citizens can ask an officer to not record, and the officers get to decide if they want to comply with that request. It's going to depend on the circumstances. The requirement by the policy is officers, if they do deactivate their cameras, they have to say on tape why they're deactivating their cameras. So they can't be in the middle of a situation or a call or a scene and then just all of a sudden shut them off. They're not permitted to do that. Other times when they won't have their cameras activated is for personal use. Places like restrooms or in the PD, they won't normally have them running there when they're doing case reports or anything like that. There are times where officers can have the discretion if they want to have their cameras going. If they're interviewing maybe a forensic interview of a child sexual assault victim or an adult who has been the victim of sexual assault, they may choose to not record that interview. Death notifications, they wouldn't record those. And it kind of comes down to where if the dignity of the citizen, the dignity is more important than the recording, right? We're going to maintain our citizens' dignity. Now, one of the questions that comes up about recording, obviously, too, is when do we have to advise citizens? An officer in uniform out in the public when they're interacting with the public, that's not protected as private speech. So the law does, though, require if you're going to do a traffic stop, we need to notify you that you're being recorded. And if we're going to do a custodial interview, we need to notify you that you're being recorded. So those are the two situations when they have to advise the citizens that they're being recorded. Prior to implementation, should you agree to the policies and pass those tonight, the officers will be trained on all the equipment. They will have at least a month once they are wearing the cameras that they kind of have amnesty. If they forget to turn them on, if they don't activate them, if they cut them off, they get a month or so to integrate and get used to them. Talking to the other agencies, that's a pretty effective time period for them to get used to it. Now the next question is, when is that footage reviewed? There are certain circumstances where the footage can be reviewed. Officers get to review the footage prior to writing their reports. They get access to the footage. We're not trying to hide anything. It is what it is. It's going to help them have better recall, and the reports will be more accurate. They're not able to edit, alter, or delete any of the footage, however. There are permissions for that, and they will not have those. There are situations where the footage will automatically be reviewed. Use of force, pursuits, IA complaints, internal or citizen complaints about an officer's conduct, vehicle collisions. Those are all situations where the camera footage would be reviewed by a supervisor. As far as like PDR requests, we are going to comply with law for public disclosure requests. Our records division will be in charge of that. They're very good about what can be released and when it can be released. There are certain people that are entitled to any footage, depending upon if they're involved in the incident, and there are others that can access the footage, but it will have conditions to it. Video storage, once again, we're going to be using a company as our provider that has cloud storage. So all of our video storage will go to the cloud. And we can also upload all third-party video and audio recordings to that cloud as well. So they will be the holder of our entire digital storage library. Next slide. So we're fairly fortunate in that there were several agencies that started looking at body-worn cameras, and they tested them and tried them, and some didn't work out, and they incurred the expense and the cost of that trial and error. Coming into it now, every agency in Clark County, with the exception of the Clark County or the Cowlitz County Tribe, has body-worn cameras. Most have in-vehicle cameras, and every single one of them uses Axon as their provider for those. Additionally, Axon has a bundle that has the body-worn cameras, the tasers, and the in-vehicle cameras. They are a very reputable organization that is just at the top tier in this industry right now. So the use of them is going to give us the opportunity to learn from all the trials and errors processes that other agencies went through, which then is going to be a cost savings for our citizens because we're not going to make those mistakes. We're going to be able to come in and just really rely on what they've learned, the lessons they've learned, and it's hopefully going to save our community some money in that implementation process. Axon has been amazing since we've been working with them. They're very responsive to our questions and concerns. They would be the ones that would come out and help us set up all the programs. They would help us do the in-vehicle installs, all of that. One of the questions that has come up is why do both? You know, I was curious about that myself, so I reached out to the Clark County Sheriff's Department and I asked Commander McCabe at the time, you know, this is what we're thinking about doing. We're a little agency. What do you think? Is this too much? And he said, absolutely not. I would highly recommend that you do both. They're seamlessly integrated. They feed off of each other as far as like when I told you earlier about the automatic triggers that activate them. He said it's not that big of a lift. Once you get in with Axon and you get the processes started, it'll be a fairly seamless transition. He said if you can afford it, he would highly recommend we do both at once. I do know that Camas now has both, and they are very happy that they did their vehicle cameras. And just recently, it came to be a very valuable tool when they had an officer involved in a collision, and the citizen claimed that the officer was at fault, and the camera was able to show that the officer was not at fault. So if we decide to move forward with policy adoption, we will be coming back to you as we move forward with the implementation. This is not a one and done tonight. We're asking you to approve these policies, but this is just the first glance at what we will bring back to you as we move through the program. So I kind of covered that slide, and I think the next one, there is an implementation plan. One of the things about Axon is they're kind of an all-in-one. So not only do we get body-worn cameras and vehicle cameras, but we also get Taser 10s, which is the latest and newest Taser technology. In the past, we would have to buy our Tasers, and then within 3 to 4 years, they'd be outdated, they weren't supported, and we'd have to buy another Taser. Well, now Axon provides us with the Tasers, and then we have a refresh schedule, which is up there on the screen, where they actually come and replace that equipment. So we're talking about doing a 10-year contract with Axon. So this is the refresh schedule that is up on the screen as to when they would refresh that equipment. Additionally, that's not really highlighted here, and it's not in one of my slides, but Axon also is going to provide us with virtual reality training equipment, which are the goggles that are in that picture on the screen there. They provide us with those and training scenarios so that we can run our people through Taser training scenarios. So that's a pretty unique opportunity that we get with having this bundle with Axon. So that concludes my presentation at this time. I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Council, questions?
Yes.
Councilor Favela?
Okay. Sorry, Chief, I'm just gonna let you know I have like 6 questions, so I'm gonna.
I'll try my best.
Okay. So do we have a plan to mitigate difficulties in redacting sensitive information from the videos okay.
We do actually, because once again, Axon has thought of that. Like I said, this is not their first go around with this whole situation with departments, and they have a redaction program. Plus, like I said, we have public records people that are trained on what can be disseminated and what has to be redacted. So the program with their training is gonna take care of that.
Awesome. Who reviews the footage? Who has access to it? And is there a plan, you know, to really prevent like biased interpretation of that video footage?
There is, as far as access, so once again, officers will have access to their body-worn camera footage before writing reports. Obviously, the courts will get access to the footage at some point if it goes to prosecution. There are those things that automatically trigger a review of the footage, which is use of force, after action, citizen complaints, all of those things that I mentioned. Other than that, it's not Officers can't just decide on Monday, hey, I'm going to go eat some popcorn and watch some videos. They don't get to have that kind of access. It's much more restricted to that. They have to have a reason. And the system is robust enough that every time somebody accesses those videos, it records time, date, who's reviewing them, all of that information. Now, it is also my understanding that if I'm an officer on a scene with another officer and they're the primary, I do get to view their footage as well as my footage. So that, because we want consistency, we want it to be transparent, but yet we also don't want them to mistake what they're writing.
You just cut two of my questions out. Thank you.
You're
so
welcome.
my last one is, if one of our officers is helping another agency and an event happens, who then has access to that footage? Does their footage fall under the agency's policy? Does it still remain under ours? How does that work?
So the nice thing about having Axon, once again, like I said, is the entire county, every law enforcement agency uses it. The system is set up so that it can be accessed by all the agencies, but we have to give permissions for that. They can't just decide, hey, I'm going to go look at Ridgefield's footage. So, but we would be able to give them authorization to do that. And because we're all connected in that system, it will be much easier for them to access that and for us to share information from agency to agency.
And very last thing is, how long is the footage stored for? What is the time frame on that?
So if it's, they call it not a event of interest, that typically is stored for 60 days, and then it can be deleted by the records manager that is handling the body-worn camera process. And all of that is documented when something's deleted as to time, date, and who did it. If it has a relevant interest, meaning that it's going to prosecution, then it remains in our possession until after prosecution and when all appeals are exhausted. So we retain it. If it's something like an officer-involved shooting, that could be for a long time because of the court action that could be occurring.
Awesome. Thank you.
Councilor Davis?
Yeah, I have a few questions. I mean, first and foremost, Chief, thank you for your leadership on this. I think it's really important. Some almost like logistics pieces, or a logistics question. Storage of the body-worn camera, like, so I know our officers, they take their vehicle home and then come in. Is the like charging and everything, the dock, going to be with them at home, or is it back at the station?
So interesting fact, because we do take our cars home, that makes us somewhat unique, but very similar to county because they also have take-home cars. So we asked them that question, and they're the ones that encourage us to install docking stations in the patrol cars. Okay. So the officers will be able to, the concern is when they're going to and from home, sometimes they run into stuff. Yeah, and we want them to have the cameras with them. And so they are able to download, transfer the data, dock the cameras at home when they finish their shift. My understanding that the downloading or the transfer of data occurs relatively quickly. There also will be docking stations at the station. So if I come in to write a report and maybe I don't need that, I can dock it there and it'll download that. So it'll make the download at the end even less time consuming.
Okay. And then the second question I had was looking, I guess through the budget financial impact, and this might be one for Mr. Johnson as well, noticing 2025 costs, 90,000-ish with some grant funding, 2026, 67,000, but then 27 through 2034 bumps up to almost $160,000. What is the background on that big jump, or why are our costs for these 2 calendar years defrayed?
So when we negotiated and talked to them about the contract for the 10 years, we did ask them to take our first few years and reduce the price as we're going through the transition process from residential to commercial, as we're a little bit tighter on the budget, and asked to take that out to some later years when we would have the revenue to cover that, expecting that our public safety tax would also be increasing at that time as well.
Okay. And then I guess the last question I have is, you said that the only jurisdiction around here that doesn't have this policy is the Cowlitz tribe. If our officers are providing assistance up there, are they able to use their cameras?
Yeah, there shouldn't be any restrictions to that. If they're up there assisting the Cowlitz tribe, they should be able to use theirs.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Council? Councilor Wells.
Yeah, this is for Kurt.
the question I have is are we limited to the amount of cameras we can have, body cameras? We got a police force now. We had a police force of 3, and then we have grown, and we probably in 10 years will grow again. On the projected figure, that was my question. How fast is it going to escalate?
That might be a tandem answer, but I'll start with the fact that we know that there are going to be cameras added. We know there will be tasers added because as we bring people on, and Axon knows that as well. And what my understanding is they're really good about when we need additional resources, they will ship them out to us. And yes, there will be an added cost for that as we expand because the rate that we were given is for what we're containing right now.
Mayor Pro Tem Cole?
You good? You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Chief, for putting all the work into this. This is great. You know, I look at all the scrutiny it's already undergone, and then it comes to us as kind of a last stop, which is great. Then I think, well, what are we asking questions for? But I do have a couple of questions as we look at this. And you did touch on it in your presentation. You were talking about when is it activated, and there are some automatic triggers, you know, like when we said it activates. But the policy itself kind of defines other activities. It just says other law enforcement activities, which to me starts to get a little bit vague. And I'm wondering, number one, is that intentionally left vague, so left up to the discretion of the officer, you know? And then I go through and I think, well, you know, that is the assumption there is that the officer is always going to make the right choice every single time. And I believe our officers will, but of course we wouldn't need cameras if there wasn't, you know, if there wasn't that reasonable doubt there. So, you know, when you look at that, like, how should we be defining law enforcement activities a little bit more tighter, or is there a reason why we didn't? You know, I kind of wonder if it should be a little bit more specific as we go through that.
I can see where you're coming from with that. I will tell you that we did a pretty good job kind of delineating out what are the things that our officers do most often. And I think we have most of those things covered. There is nothing that prevents an officer other than, you know, the places like a death notification or in a hospital or in a therapy room or places where they probably shouldn't be recording. There is nothing that prevents an officer from turning on their camera. If they're in a situation and they think this doesn't feel right or this doesn't seem like it's going to go right, even though it doesn't meet one of those other parameters, they are more than welcome to turn on their camera. It actually does give them pretty fine boundaries about when they can turn their camera off if they are engaging in police activity.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. And then a couple more questions just from my end, if a good mayor. How going back to like the technical aspects of this, you know what you said, like when they dock them in their car, so like the data doesn't sync or doesn't upload as a backup or to the cloud until they dock it, so it's not doing that in real time. So if they leave it in their car overnight, nothing has happened right from that day. So okay. Is there like once they do submit it, like you said, the data is kept, and that's all in the cloud, and there's nothing locally stored?
That's correct. And right now, we currently have a different evidence storage, which is QTEL, which is where we put our photographs and those kinds of things. But all of that will be able to go to Axon into the cloud. And a really nice feature that we're excited about is they can even, if I go and I see a auto prowl at your neighbor's house, and I come to your house and you have a video, and you want to upload that video to me, you want to give it to me. Now there's a lot of legwork that goes into how we do that. Not so much with QTEL, it's gotten better, but with Axon, I'll literally give you a code, text you a code, and you'll shoot it right up to the cloud into our Axon storage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm learning more about that, but that's how advanced with technology that Axon is and why we're so excited to be bringing them on board.
And with that, I'm assuming there's like, you know, like there's kind of data redundancy there so that we're not going to lose critical data if something, with the exception that if that device did not sync, then that's the only sort of black spot. Yeah.
Correct. And there was going to be some learning curves, right? We're gonna have some learning curves as we move into this program. The nice thing is, and I will tell you that county under Sheriff Horch, they've been incredible, and they've told us when you guys are ready to move, let us know. We'll send out, they have a whole division that deals with their body cameras, so they'll send out people to help us, not only to do the programming to get all the permissions uploaded, but also for the installs for the vehicles.
Okay, great, thank you. And then last question here is just, has your department defined an interval in which you would review this policy yourself for updates periodically?
We did more so in the vehicle one, but it is also for the other. I think that we plan to do an annual review of both policies, just to make sure that we're staying current. I know that county, we put some language, if you look in the vehicle policy, I don't have it in front of me right at the moment, but I certainly can get it for you. There is language that pertains to that exact question.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Council, anybody else? No, the motion that we want for that, is that to approve policy number 607 and 608, or is it just a motion for policy approval for body-worn cameras?
Mr. Mayor, it would be a motion to approve policies 6.07 and policy 6.08.
Okay. Council, I'd accept the motion.
So I make a motion to approve policies number 6.07 and 6.08.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve policies number 6.07 and 6.08, which is the approval for body-worn and in-vehicle cameras. Are there any more questions or comments? Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. It passes. We're done with our business, so anyone wishing to address City Council regarding items not subject to a public hearing may come forward at this time to the podium or use the raised hand feature located on the toolbar at the bottom of your Zoom screen. For controls over the phone, press *9 for raised hand, *6 to mute or unmute. Please state your name and limit your comment to 3 minutes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Joe Melroy, and I'm representing the Port of Ridgefield tonight. I've been seated on the Port of Ridgefield's board for about 27 years, so some of us are familiar with one another. A little promotion about the Port of Ridgefield. The Port of Ridgefield is primarily being we don't have any ships and boats and stuff coming in, people don't understand why we have a Port of Ridgefield. The port is a public economic development agency. That's primarily what the port is. The port's charge is to improve the commerce of the community. And we have done a lot of that with a lot of cooperation from folks on this council and within the city and their staff. We've an unusual situation with ports throughout the state. There are 75 ports in the state of Washington. Not very many of them get along well with the city, wherever they're located. Some do, some do. And we were in the group that did not get along with the city well for an awfully long time. I don't understand why, but when I got on the council, or on the commission, I said, now that's going to change. We're going to get along with the city. Didn't happen. We had a rough go for a long time, 10 years. And it was an argument and a discussion constantly. But I got to tell you that something happened 17, 18 years ago that changed the attitude between the port and the council. And I think what changed is the guy sitting in the middle up here. And the port has had a great relationship with the city for the last 18 years. I wonder why that number is synonymous with his time. But I have a plaque that I want to give to you for your safekeeping. And it says, Whereas on the 8th day of January, 2025, the Port Commission wishes to thank Mayor Onslow for his 17, but we know better, years of dedicated service to the city of Ridgefield and the citizens of the city. And whereas during time as mayor and councilman, Ron Onslow has led the city of Ridgefield through some numerous challenging growth. And whereas the mayor has been a great partner for the Port of Ridgefield and helped to build what would ultimately be a fantastic working relationship between the port and the city, we want to present you with this document that you can hang on your wall at home. And we want to thank you very, very much for what you've done for this community.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It's kind of funny, the first month that I was elected mayor, they said, well, we don't get along with the port. And I said, why not? And they said, we didn't know. Nobody knew. Well, we don't get along with them. And I said, oh. So I went down to the port and I walked in and I said, who's in charge down here? And they said, a guy named Brent Granning. I said, well, is he here? Yeah, he's here. And he came out and I said, well, I want to talk to you. And he said, what for? And I said, well, my name's Ron Onslow. I'm the mayor of Ridgefield. I understand we don't get along. And that's not going to happen anymore. And he said, okay. That's all there was to it. We had reasonable people on both sides. Everybody was good with that. All right. Is there anybody else that wishes to speak? Oh, Mr. Stewart.
Ken Stewart, citizen of Ridgefield. I just want to thank you for your service, sir. And being a mayor that has made Ridgefield a very livable place and ranks as my favorite city because of all the work you have done, all of the former council members and mayors as well as all of the police department, police chiefs, and city staff that have just put an effort to make this one of the best cities that I have ever lived in my entire life.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak at the, is there anybody, well, he's coming up, is there anybody online? Good.
My name is Rob A. Clay. I live here in Ridgefield. So Ron, it's been a blessing to get to know you. You know, I met this guy when I moved here, and I came to a council meeting, and they were talking about trimming some grapes. I didn't know any of you guys. It was down in the community center that they tore that building down. But anyways, he talked me into helping him with the grapes, and so I did. And then sometime later, I wanted to join the Ridgefield Lions Club, so I was on their website and it had a phone number to call, and it said you needed to have a sponsor. So anyways, I didn't know anything about it. I called the phone number on it, and the phone number had been directed to Ron Onslow's house because he was taking the phone calls because the other person was sick or had an operation or something. And so anyways, I said, hey, he says, hello, and I says, is this the, I'm calling regarding the Lions. He goes, oh, yeah, what do you need to know? And I says, well, it says I need to have a sponsor if I want to join. And he says, do you know who you're talking to? And I says, no. And he says, I'm Ron. You were helping trim the grapes. And I said, oh, yeah, okay, I do know you. He goes, well, just come to the next meeting. And so I went to the meeting, and back then Ron went to all the Lions meetings, and he became my sponsor in the Lions. And so that led to one thing after the next with different activities with the 4th of July and all the other stuff that Ron does in the community. And so I got to know him rather well. And it's been a blessing to also know him in other activities. I see Dave Kelly from Windy Hills Winery here. We have a men's group up there every Monday that meets, and I know Ron and Councilor Burke will go, and there's several different coffees around town. Taco Tuesdays is still alive and kicking. I really enjoy interfacing with the good old boys, and I'm proud to be one of them. Thank you.
Thank you. My co-anchor on the garden.
I'm sorry?
On the community garden.
Oh,
I
yeah,
said
community garden.
we're
My name is
co-conspirators.
Kathy Winters, and I live at 114 North 4th Avenue. And I have a story to tell about Ron. It's been churning around here. You may not all know Deadman's Park. It's now called Eagles View Park at the end of Main Avenue, the south end. It had a lot of blackberries on it. And so Ron Onslow decided this was not a good idea. He started on a weekend so that none of the members of the city council were active, or the city manager. And he cut all the vines off, and he finally got to the street and cleared the whole thing out. Steve Stewart said, Ron, this is not how we do things.
No, Steve, it wasn't Steve.
Oh, it wasn't
we didn't have
Steve?
Steve yet. It was Justin.
Oh, Justin Cleary. Okay. Yeah. So that's my story about Ron. He gets things done one way or another.
Thank you. About that time, I was also, they gave me a moniker, and that was Chainsaw Ron. Well, anything that we did, Overlook Park or whatever, I'd say, those are just, I had a different name, but it was awful trees. And they need to come down. So I cut them. Anyway, is there anybody else who wishes to speak to the council? Good. We have council and staff reports, and I have also an appointment. So, council, Mr. Burkle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just been a reasonably inactive period of time since our last short council meeting, but I did attend the port meeting yesterday as well as city manager briefing, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Davis.
Yeah, I've had a few things going on since our last meeting. I was able to do a tour of the wastewater facility. Thank you. John and his crew took me out to view how our wastewater it gets processed, and I learned stuff about that system that I would have just never thought about. And it's an important part of having, the type of community that we have, and so I really appreciate that opportunity. I was able to do not just one, but two ride-alongs with our Ridgefield Police Department about a week ago, and that was a fantastic experience. I'd done other ride-alongs with other agencies before, but just being able to see our community, I suppose through a different lens, but also, get to know our police officers and, get their perspectives on the community. I thought that was just a really valuable opportunity. On that note, I would say Happy Law Enforcement Appreciation Day to our RPD. A lot of them are gone right now, but, I guess, in spirit. And Mayor Onslow, I would be remiss if I didn't thank you for all your friendship, your support, and your service to our community. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Councilor Wells, who came in shortly after I did, because I was encouraging him. He says I didn't, but I did.
I've still had second thoughts. Yeah. I got wrote down here that we had a legislative breakfast since the last council meeting.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, I did attend that. And that was down at the police department. On the 20th, we had a alliance meeting that between Ridgefield, Clark County, Battleground, and I guess the sewer district's included in that also. It's held at their facility. And then on the 8th, we had a briefing, and today is council meeting tonight. That's all.
So that's great. Councilor Chipman.
So we did have legislative breakfast, which actually was quite excellent. I thought that turned out really well. Oh, that's right. The other thing that I got to, that I could report on over Christmas is our food bank here, our Neighbors Helping Neighbors Food Bank, which I'm involved with, and some of you also are. We were able to give away to the kids of the families that come 338 gift bags for them for Christmas presents, of which the city of Ridgefield provided, I think, 40 or 50 of those bags, which was a great thing. The employees took tags and provided those gifts for them, so that was just super. But anyway, we take the names of the kids up to age 18 of the families that come into the food bank and make sure that they each have the gifts that they have asked for on their tags. And so it's really something kind of separate from what we do as far as the food. It's just what Pam, the administrator, has always done and wants to do. And it's a very, very big task. It's a very big task. But she gets a lot of joy out of it. And like I told her on Christmas Day, I said, hey, you have been Santa Claus to 338 kids in this community today. So you need to be, she was exhausted. I said, you need to be really, really patting yourself on the back. So anyway, that's it for me.
It's wonderful. Councilor Favela,
Yes, thank you.
the baby of our council.
I know. It's been a pretty quiet month for me. I've been at home recovering from a medical procedure, so I haven't really been up to much, but I did get to attend the Clark Cowlitz Fire Commission meeting this afternoon. The fire department has decided to join Kindness 911, and I'm super excited about that so that we have both our police department and our fire department involved. It's a phenomenal organization, and I'm really excited about that, so thank you. And, we have the devastating fires happening in California, and I believe, Chief, I think I got the number right, there's 135 personnel in the state of Washington that are going down to California, and 7 of those supporters are from Clark Cowlitz Fire Department. They're headed down right now for 2 weeks to lend a hand. So I'm so appreciative to these firefighters. Not only do they sign up to protect our community, but to be so willing to go and help another community that they are not in connection with. And it is National Law Enforcement Day, so thank you, Chief, for all your work. And how fun is it to have Officer Hunt, Sergeant Jensen, and now Detective King recognized today on National Law Enforcement Day. It's huge. And Mayor Ron, I cry a lot when I speak to my heart, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to lead with humor. I am so thankful for you. You talk a lot, and there's a lot of knowledge that comes with that, and I appreciate it. I appreciate everything that you've done, the legacy that you're leaving, the knowledge that you've instilled in me, even my son, teaching him how to correctly chop wood. Great skill to have.
Yeah.
But thank you you have a huge heart, and it's you don't see that in a lot of people. And you are a natural advocate, and you are somebody that will stand up even if everybody else is against it. You have a vision, and you will go with it, and help show other people what that vision is. So there are parts of you that I hope that we will continue to carry on this council and within the city. And I know this is not goodbye forever, and I'm really excited to see what trouble you are going to cause in your new free time.
Oh, and I won't call you the baby anymore. You're a young lady. And thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, Mayor, just a couple of things for me. Actually, Councilor Favela, you know, talked about Law Enforcement Day, so thank you for doing that. Just also a shout out to our new officer Hunt, once again, too. Just glad to have you here in Ridgefield. And actually, between King and Jensen, they might have had a bigger fan club here tonight than you did. So that's that really says something when you can kind of outmatch Ron on something like that. So, but yeah, I do want to congratulate the mayor for your service, completion of 18 years of public service here in Ridgefield, and the city really has been lucky to have you. It really truly has. Ron likes to tell a story about when he first got on the council. And he'll say, when I first got on the council, we were $500,000 in debt, and we had to fire the, well, you guys all heard the story, and if you haven't, he'll probably tell it again 4 or 5 more times, but, about how he got on the council. But, it is a testament to what, it was a change at the time, and I think it was a necessary change in the leadership of this city that really was a catalyst that propelled us forward into I think the era we're now in, which I would consider the growth era. And some may love it, some may hate it, but I think that Ron's thumbprint is on it regardless of whether you like it or not. And so, and I just hope I paid attention to all the stories enough to be able to kind of have that historical continuity going forward, because we're going to need that. It is definitely really necessary here. But seriously, Ron, what you've done for the city, I think we have all aspired to have on our resumes as policymakers. This is the passing of the torch in many regards, from city leader to city leader. And I see us as you leaving us more or less the keys of the city. And so we now, the 6 of us remaining, have to be stewards of that. So we're going to do that with your same fiery spirit, your exuberance, and we're going to embrace the vision that you had and continue it on and add a little bit of our own there. So thank you again, Ron. It's big shoes to fill. No, we don't want to borrow yours. I think that you need to keep them, but we're excited to continue having us advise us even in retirement. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Burkle, you want to speak twice?
Thank you. I just want to suggest that I've known the mayor now for 20 plus years, and his fingerprints are all over the city of Ridgefield. If you look at some of the major things that have occurred in Ridgefield, it's the result of Mr. Onslow. You look at Overlook Park, you look at the nature park, you look at the community gardens. Wherever you go, this man has had his hands on the project. He had the vision and he had the drive. What I'm going to miss is an early morning call. You pick up the phone and it says, "What are you doing?" And I know that there's a project we're going to be doing that day. I'm going to miss it. I hope you continue to do it. I'll be ready. Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you. All right, I have an appointment of a member, and he applied to the Planning Commission, but I talked him into running for the Mosquito Control District Board, one of your favorites. I have a couple of people here. And Justin Raxic, and is he here? I asked him if he could make it, and he didn't know whether he could or not. But he's also one we're looking forward to. He wants to run a restaurant, a small restaurant on that triangle piece on Hillhurst. But he's waiting for Tom Files to make some decisions. So anyway, I would accept a motion to nominate Justin Raxic to the Mosquito Control Board.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, as a fellow mosquito bro, as Councilor Davis is as well, I move to appoint Justin Raczak to the Mosquito Control Board.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Justin Raczak to the Mosquito Control Board. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to the staff, except that I have my final words. And it isn't going to be, when I got on the council, we were under $3,000 and $550,000 in debt and didn't know what we were going to do. This is my personal feelings. Before moving to Ridgefield, I owned and operated my own business for over 40 years. I retired, moved to Ridgefield with my wife Sandy, and my plans were to sail my boat down the coast and through the Panama Canal over the course of a year. But before I did that, I found myself being appointed to the Ridgefield City Council. So many things were happening so fast. Developers were priming the city for growth. Our sewer plant was nearing its capacity. I took over as mayor when our first female mayor, Chief Doriet's mother, Gladys Doriet, stepped down for health reasons. So many, we, the city, had a very smart council that worked together year after year with very smart city staff and management. We went through the housing boom and then the crash, only to come flying back to rapid growth again. We had a council of 5 with 25 people on the city staff. We are now a council of 7 with 78 people on our staff. I have proudly served with over 20 counselors, young, old, male, female. They all brought a different perspective, knowledge, and experience. I reached a point that my window to sail the Panama Canal closed, and I realized volunteering and serving my community was something I had been drawn to my whole life. I have always found joy in working with others, running a business with employees, coaching sports for kids, volunteering in just about anything that I was involved in. That must be what made being a city councilor feel like a natural step after retirement. I remember the excitement when the city received a grant we so desperately needed, or when a consortium came together with other cities to better our community. Our council worked together as a team to accomplish so many great things. Ridgefield became my home that felt like the place I could have been born in. The history here is rich and alive, and I really enjoyed getting to help shape the growth that preserved as much of that history as possible. I am proud that I could influence the growth of parks and trails for our city, and this was probably the most constant, important issue to me in my 18 years, just ahead of being an expert on sewers, of course. Leaving the council feels a little like moving out of my favorite house I've lived in, but only to move just down the street. I am grateful for all the wonderful citizens and friends I have met because of my position. You have all enriched my life. I want to thank Steve Stewart, the council, the city staff, police, fire, the port, and all the wonderful organizations and groups that have shown equal pride in our city. And with that, I will say goodbye and thank you for allowing me to serve. kind of hard to get that last sentence out there. But, Mr. Stewart, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Don't have really anything additional to report, but while we do know it is your last meeting with us and that you do not do things for the awards or the rewards, we do still have a couple of small tokens of affection and of thanks for the work that you have done in this community. The first of those is one that we want to give you to help you remember a lot of those projects that you helped bring to completion. And our city clerk, Julie, will show you this. And this is something just to say thanks for all the projects that you've brought to fruition. It's been spoken of a lot.
Oh, there you go. Look at that. Awesome.
It's been spoken of a lot, Mayor. A lot of these projects would not have happened without your vision, without your persistence, without your dogged determination to get it done. You brought people together to actually make these things happen, and the community is better for it. So we thank you for all the projects you brought to reality for us. We all benefit. All the people who benefit from it and don't even know it. The second thing that we wanted to provide to you, and I'm going to have Julie give that to me first so I can read it. The second thing we have for you is something we don't do very often, and that is to provide you a key to the city. This is the city that you helped build. This is the city that you have shaped by your vision and your leadership. Thus, we want to make sure you have a key so that you can find your way in, and it's big enough that you shouldn't be able to lose it. So.
I think it will fit City Hall.
I think it actually does. I think it fits the door that you want to remove that goes into my office. I'm pretty sure that's the one.
I got plans. When he goes on vacation,
exactly.
He doesn't know it yet.
We are incredibly thankful for your leadership, for your work in this community. We are all better for it, and I am better for it. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. There's a story that goes along with Steve Stewart, and we had interviewed city managers. We didn't like any of them. And I was at the restaurant, what was the name of it? At the New Heathman down by the Vancouver Mall. And he walked in, and somebody said, well, he had just got through saying BS to the rest of the county commissioners, and he said, they said, why don't you apply for Ridgefield? And he says, they've closed their applications. I said, you're talking to the right guy. And from that, we hired Steve Stewart. Thank you very much. And I was hoping that we would have him for at least 3 to 5 years. And I think hopefully we're stuck with him for the rest of his life. Chuck Green.
So, Mayor, I've had the privilege and honor have had worked with you since 2007. Yeah. And back in those days, I was the city's consulting transportation planner. And I remember working for the city during those dark days. I mean, it was really a struggle. Back in those days, where I worked under 3 city managers and 2 of them were fired. So when you came on board, that was a change. And we could see it. We got things done, especially passing a new transportation plan that the city had not had before. The city is much better for it with you being in the helm of that. I also want to thank you for your unwavering support of C-Tran during those days you just referred to, where it was a big challenge, and with your support, we were able to get the 4th Plain Vine project built. And so not only that, but getting that project built meant we then had the mill plane vine built. And then the next one is going under construction this summer. So that's your legacy with C-Tran, your legacy here. So I really will miss working with you, but I'm really privileged and honored to have worked with you these 18 years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Mr. Johnson,
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
don't you have a slideshow for us?
If you really want one, I will do one all night long. So I hope nobody's planning on going home. Anyway, I just wanted to mention one of the early memories I have of working with you. I came here about 12 years ago, and one time you come racing up to the side of City Hall in your car. You get out, you're running in to get some information because you got a meeting downtown, and your car keeps driving. So you give that look to your car like, oh shit. And then you go running after your car to save them.
That backed into me.
But anyway, that just kind of showed, you know, all of the stuff that you've done for the community. You're in such a hurry to get the information to get downtown for another meeting that you had with one of our regional partners. But overall, I do want to thank you for the gray hair you gave me with all the volunteer projects we had to fund, and just appreciate everything that you've done.
Thank you very much. Ms. Luce, the youngest person I, came as an engineer, and I said, oh my God. And in that little mold-encrusted building next to Davis Park, Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I'm an engineer now, but yes, it was a pretty dingy, small little building I started out in. And Mayor, thank you for your exceptional service to the city. It's really amazing to look back and see how your vision and your leadership has created the environment my staff and I work in today. We have so many cool projects and initiatives because of what you've helped Ridgefield become. You've taught so much to so many people, and you're a really special person in this community, so thank you.
Thank you. This is my sounding board that when I walk into the city hall and I want to avoid Steve, then I go to Ms. Notneris, so.
And stay for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I think Sandy
she
used to
talks as much as I do.
Yeah. Sandy used to call my office to find out where you were.
That's
I'm not kidding. I guess I'm struggling with what to say because I agree with everyone that has said some very true and kind words about how much you have given to this community, how much you have created, how we see you everywhere in the projects that have been completed, mostly by volunteers. And all that Ridgefield is thanks to your vision. So I agree with all of those things, but kind of what jumps to mind is a little more personal, and that is when I started working here, we didn't have a city manager. So Ron Onslow was the one that welcomed me to the city and asked me to hire my boss. But you did. I mean, you were the first one that was in my office saying welcome and helping me figure out what it means to work for the city and who we are as a city. So he was very welcoming for me. And I think that's the city that has been created that is very welcoming, and that is thanks to you. So I would just want to thank you for your friendship, for the leadership you have provided for the city, and everything that you have taught me, and the way that you have supported our staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Janine Parker, are you with us still?
I am with you this evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you're not going to give us any bad news, right?
No, not tonight. It's a night of good news. No, I don't have anything to report. I just want to say you've been here ever since I started with the city in 2012, so that's been quite a while, and I really appreciate working for you and for the team that you created here at the city. So you will be sorely, sorely missed, and thank you for everything.
Thank you. Chief Doriot, who, when I got on the council, was one of three, was there three police? at
Probably
that
3 or
time?
4.
I think it was 3 or 4. Anyway, very interesting, and really have been great to work with you. But anyway, do you have any report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank you for your years of service to this community. The one thing I can tell you for sure is you have led by example. When it comes to serving this community, I think there's pretty much not an event that I go to that I don't see you running around doing something. You're emptying garbage cans, you're doing whatever needs to get done, and that is the epitome of a leader, right? You roll up your sleeves, you get out, you do the work. So I just appreciate that. And I also appreciate the fact that, yeah, I was a young kid when you met me, but you still gave me the chance at this chief's role, and you were supportive of that. So for that, sir, I thank you, and congratulations. I hope you get lots of travels in your future.
A young kid. A young kid. Oh my goodness. Okay. And with that, thank you all for staying and commenting, and thanks for your clapping. I appreciate it. This meeting is adjourned.